think everybody's. Yeah, let's go through that. The first thing we're gonna do is approve our October meeting minutes.
Our last meeting was October 9th, 2024. Our board discussed SELAC events, positivity showcase, lighted up red, decoding dyslexia presented, the special educator, the special education director updated us, and then we had open forum. That was it.
Yes, sir. Anybody? No, we're good? Okay. Tonight we have Amanda Carr with us. She is the school-based clinician that's out of Gateway. Within almost every school now.
Should I like walk up there?
Yeah, please.
Cool.
You can be in. I feel a little weird in that.
So I work for Gateway Healthcare. We're a behavioral health clinic. We're located in Johnston. The state has taken on a new model for behavioral health care called a Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. That being said, it means we get assigned a region in Rhode Island, and Smithfield's in that region. And then we are required to serve everybody, and everybody age does not matter. So we have adult and children programs, and we accept all insurances. If someone does not have insurance, we help them figure that out. And then we also have like a sliding scale payment fee that can be applied based off of income. So it's basically a way to bring behavioral health, mental health care to the larger community. And then through this process, Gateway created my role, which is a school-based clinician. So we have one in each of our offices now in Pawtucket, Johnston, and our Charleston office. And basically I have partnerships with multiple different school districts, and I go in and I talk to the different school staff and the families and help get access to care when needed. So it basically is just a way for us to make care more accessible to the community members. We found when we were kind of beginning the CCBHC process that children were of high need, and that we didn't really feel like we were servicing them in the best way we possibly could. So my role is basically just I go into the schools and I talk a lot with school staff, and I do a lot of outreach with families to try and better assess and care for the communities. So Gateway has a few different programs that I can help families access if needed. So we have one being our emergency services program, and we have a partnership with Family Service of Rhode Island. So for mobile crisis, we go through them for children and families. If a child needs a crisis evaluation, we can call them for that. And then we also, for adults, have our own emergency services 24/7 line for suicide or risk evaluations. We also have vocational rehabilitation services, residential programs for like adults, child and family services. So we have a home-based program that's called CFTO, Child and Family Therapeutic Outreach. So that is for children with any diagnosis, but it's a more intense home-based service. So clinicians and psychiatrists, case managers, a child or family gets assigned a whole team, and it really is a way for the whole family to get access to care and make like better routines in the home that can better assist the child. And then we also have our child and family outpatient services, which is just like general therapy essentially. We also have substance use treatment, and then our healthy transitions program is for like transitional age youth, so 16 to 25 that are dealing with like mental health crises or of any disorder and kind of need that extra support transitioning into adulthood. And then we have our like community affiliates. So we are partnered with Friendsway, the Autism Project, and Capital City Community Center. since the Autism Project is basically right next door to our office, I work really closely with them. They have a lot of cool programs, social skills groups. They have a summer camp over the summer for a few weeks. They also have a new program that's like community health workers, and they're like family, like certified health workers that are like peer parents that have children with different disabilities, and they can kind of help like case manage and connect you to other resources available in the state that you're available to. So I love setting people and families up with the Autism Project. They have been super great so far throughout this year. And basically just more about like the roles and the goals with my role in the school district is we look at it from like an MTSS standpoint. So we break down into different tiers. Tier 1 being trying to reach the entire school. So doing things like this, so that way families and teachers know that I exist and know that they can access services when needed. And then we go into like the tier 2 where I might be consulting or outreaching parents that are at risk. And then tier 3 gets us into that more emergent students that may need like an outside eval or more intense programming. So I do a lot of support for all the different schools, and I work with, so I guess that's basically it. Does anyone have any questions for me about?
Does the school like identify like the children in need? Like how do you get connected?
Yes, so the schools can, but if parents want to,
Like if
like,
they knew about
yes,
you.
yeah, if they knew about me, so I guess that's kind of a main point of wanting to be here. I went to open house for a lot of the schools too. So I want parents to be able to access me and know that I exist. I can give like my email and my phone number if you want to talk to me about any concerns you have or any other programs that I mentioned that you think may be interested in. That's helpful.
Is it like through a grant or like a long-term?
Yeah, so it is grant funded, but it's a long term. So this like CCBHC is a new state model. So the state essentially gives us money to now put this model into place where we're able to do these things. And I did not mention, but we also, through the CCBHC, we are required to get people into care quickly. So with no wait lists. So I think that's like kind of the most enticing part, because in most places that wait list is really long right now. So that's kind of like the big accessible piece to it.
Is it offered through IEP meetings? Is it like promoted?
I mean, some school staff might bring it up at a meeting if they're meeting with a parent, like, oh, you know, when you're having challenges with this, we have, you know, a contacted gateway, and so that's sometimes, you know, how the connection. It could be, you know, just someone was concerned and they know like Amanda's gonna be in the building, and so they find her. You know, like I've emailed her like in the morning and she's like, oh, I'm gonna be there, you know, in the afternoon, I'm like, see so and so, like they're gonna be looking for you, so trying to, you know, connect that way, but I mean,
Just trying to think of like more ways to get the information out to the families. That
Yeah.
are in need and.
Like I contacted
some
the
happens to be IEP
psychologist.
and 504. Right. Kids like that.
I contacted the psychologist at PVE and they immediately gave me her info. Like they were like, like our caseload here is so big
Yeah.
here, and Amanda's ridiculously responsive. So that, but also gave like this huge list of like different categories, depending on what the need was, and just, you know, different options, which I thought was awesome too. It's not just like, oh, there's one or two. It was a whole, here's a PDF for you. Names and places.
Yes, I'm kind of redundant.
It's fine.
There's more programs like this going into schools currently. They're piloting them. There's some in Providence, there's some in Charlestown. Rhode Island Nursing Institute has a school-based clinician, but they're piloting these programs now with the funding coming in from CCBHC that went live October 1st. They're throwing the money in because the schools are understaffed. And especially now with this group that's transitioning from wanna say like fourth into like middle school, because those are your COVID kids, they were going, you know, screen for.
Even like,
Yeah.
You said getting kids in soon. Gabriel was scheduled for a neuropsych like a year and a half out, and she gave me a list that could do it within 3 to 4 months. And I was like, that is like a huge discrepancy in time.
I try to hunt down different options for like anything, even if it's not like a resource through Gateway, I tend to try and do my best to find other resources that just are in the community that parents might not have access to or are aware of, so.
Do you have any other questions? Well, thank you. Thank you. We'll make sure everybody knows that you exist.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
For everybody.
Have a good night.
Last, at our first meeting this year, realized that we didn't like define what SELAC was, and it seems that obviously you guys who are here know what we are, but we're still kind of getting questioned what SELAC is, what we do, what it stands for. So I just wanted to go over like a quick definition. So by law, like every city and town in Rhode Island is supposed to have a SELAC, which is the Special Education Local Advisory Committee. And their purpose is to provide input on policies, programs, services, anything that affects students with any type of disability that receives special education through the school district. We're supposed to identify any unmet needs at any level, really increase that family involvement, but like, and by being that bridge and getting the information out, and like sharing all the resources and information that we have or that leaders have. Like, so Eileen always gives a report sometimes. I mean, like Amanda came in, sometimes we have other staff that come in depending on what it is. Things that Smithfield does specifically, that's in addition to what, you know, is required, I guess, the best way to say it by law, is that we're really focused when we bring in a speaker, like we did today with Amanda, we make sure that it's someone who's, their topic's relevant to the need that we have in town. We're not just randomly being like, hey, we know you do something. Like, this is a focus for many families in town. We work with a lot of local businesses to bring that sense of community outside of the schools, really get all of Smithfield involved and on board with everything. We provide special free CPR and first aid classes to anybody so that they feel, you know, in that sense that they're ready. We sponsor and facilitate free sensory friendly events throughout the entire year. Some smaller events, some bigger events, but a whole variety of them. We provide a space for parents during our parent only meetings. We'll talk more about that part later. We recognize staff members throughout the school year for the positivity that they bring into their classrooms. So, you know, just overall, we're really dedicated to just breaking that stigma with about special education through just giving everybody the extra education and knowledge that they may not have. Anybody have questions? The definition of that? I think so, but like I said, I know you guys know what it is, but you know, I feel like it's so funny now to hear that people are like, what is SELAC? I'm like, where have you been? Haven't heard of anything. So yeah. On to the positivity showcase. Something.
So we had two. We had an October positivity showcase. We awarded Mrs. Megan Beely, special educator at LaPerche Elementary School. And November was Miss Adriana Altieri, and she teaches 4th grade at Pleasant View. We didn't do a December just because it's like less weeks and it's just so busy. So we're meeting with the panel tonight to discuss December and January.
We had our Santa event in December, and we are considering moving the date of Santa because that weekend is just, it's
bombarded and there's events at every single school throughout town, at the libraries, anywhere you could think of from the Friday to the Sunday on that first weekend, there's a ton of events. We had initially scheduled to do it the second weekend of December. But then there was the conflict of the high school, they did the bazaar this year, so we were not about to compete with that. So we are considering moving it to the weekend before Thanksgiving. Because the weekend of Thanksgiving is also pretty crazy and a lot of people travel, but there'll be more talks about that. Just, to get families to have that time with Santa, but this year there was so many events on the same day.
It's a great Santa.
Yeah,
It's a really good Santa this year.
Yeah, we had a different Santa. Diana's sister was our photographer this year, which she gets the pictures that night, right? Like she emailed them that night, which was awesome. They had the photo booth that was instant pictures. But yeah, he'll be back. He loved it. He was like, I know I didn't see a lot of kids, but I like seeing here.
It's great.
Fun.
Santa.
have the
Pictures
and the
were
photos.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think even though there weren't a lot of people, I think, so we moved Santa to the hallway over here, and I think that was like a good space for him, because we could isolate him while also, like, everybody could see him at the same.
I think the setup was better, not that it wasn't good before. I
No,
think
but
the
then
setup
they
was
just can
better.
walk
You could
around.
walk in
They don't have to go
or
to-
go around.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, I know Old County had their thing this year, which was like new and different
PVE was yeah.
on the same day. Yeah. there
One
were
of the,
just a lot
I
of
think
things.
one, if not both libraries had something going on. PVE's was the night before, and then it was the same night as the parade, the same day as the parade, and that's always a toss up with people. So. And there's something happening at a church too, right? You guys had something.
Yeah, it was sort of a National Honor Society hosts this really big storyline. Thousands of people
And it
go.
was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
which is
was
great.
like all.
Yeah,
It's usually the same day.
Like we
Usually
were
not-
yeah.
too, so we went to everything.
What time's the story?
It started at 3
Yeah,
and
usually
it
it's the same
ends
day.
when the parade gets there.
Right.
Because then everybody goes and sees the tree get lit up.
So
But
like any of the kids that were in the parade had to be there early.
Yeah, you-
like Rumi danced at.
You had to be there at 3 o'clock.
Early.
we were in the parade, you have to get there at 3.
Yeah,
but
so like,
you
you
know,
had to be there.
but it's
three,
never
she
been at the-
danced in the
but not the
tree, like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tree lighting and the story time, so
Santa.
we hit the Old County
There was like 3 other Santas. that
thing
came.
and then came by there.
It was a crazy day.
It was too much.
And you know, I basketball
Well, we
had
don't have to
Ryan
have
come.
lines
Yeah.
there.
So it was
Outside.
just a crazy day.
Yeah,
for
no, it was
everybody.
too much in one day.
Yeah.
We were just trying to
Be able to make
hit
it happen.
everything. and
Yeah.
It was like, you know,
Where's that?
It was
for me, we
great.
had a soccer game in the middle of it, so we went to everything. but it was like too much.
Situate.
Crazy.
Besides the setup being good, like it's like you can wait in your car. It was very like from a sensory perspective, like if there's a lot of other things going on, like it was like one at a time. I mean, they did an amazing
For
job. So
Blanche.
just a thought.
Yeah, that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
For what?
My
So
cousins do the
the
pictures.
Blanchard's farm did an amazing job with Santa, and I'm just like from a sensory perspective, like you can wait in the car. If you
Yeah.
have to.
They did a
And
really
go
good
right
job.
In and out, there wasn't a huge crowd, like, so just, ideas if the buildings are really.
Right.
packed.
Yeah, that was the other issue, is that like, just trying to find a date that there wasn't an event at every school.
So the next thing we thought of was a SSELAC library, so we have some books from my own.
So, just
Kids' books, it is what it is. But we thought about, as we continue to break the stigma behind special education, it's important that our youngest learners in district understand one another. So the best way for them to understand one another is to see characters like kids that they may not see all the time. So just to kind of educate everybody in district. So we thought about the potential of getting donations for inclusive materials and inclusive books to highlight all abilities. So this is something very new that we're talking about. But it's an idea that we have to have like a SSELAC section in all of our libraries that can be taken out by either educators, teachers, students, whoever want to highlight all of our awesome different abilities we have throughout the district. Which goes kind of with our color run, which is the same
The same gist that we have is to continue to raise education behind all different abilities, and our color run for anybody who's been or who hasn't been. Was the idea of you get a color and then the next table you learn something about a different ability. So last year we had over 500 people attend our color run. I would think it's going to be even more this year, I'm hopeful. We had 2 of our schools participate, so we had La Perche and Pleasant View, and I'm hoping that we can get representation from all schools next year. I've been in talks with some different partners throughout the 5 buildings. But we started with yellow for La Perche and we ended with green for Pleasant View, and throughout the trails, we had Autism Project, we had Doug Flutie Foundation, we had Decoding Dyslexia, we had the ARC, we had, I'm probably forgetting other people.
Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie, yep. We had, police had a table that they were throwing color powder. We had a bunch of different people, and it's a short enough trail that can fit all abilities for a walk, run, or roll.
There were
Oh, yeah.
businesses that came, like a town
And
business came.
we had Lightning McQueen Carr set up.
Right.
We had
We have Down syndrome.
Down syndrome Rhode Island
We
came.
had tons of tables in the field too, after, like, when you popped out.
Yes.
There was the, like, all
Bubbles,
the chalk and
activities.
bubbles and stuff, and then after there was a whole line of tables.
Youth Council, Ability Bridge, extraordinary.
We had
Kids, New
Best
Level.
Buddies Rhode Island and Massachusetts.
We had the watershed. We had, so just trying to keep building on.
We had all the
community.
fields.
Yeah.
We had all the soccer fields, so soccer was canceled, which if anybody knows in this town was, that is a whole thing in itself, that we canceled soccer for a color run. But it was great, and I'm hoping to expand it and continue to expand it. I was telling some people a joke, I went like ahead of myself, and I'm like, oh, anyone know Cody Lee from, America's Got Talent, like, we have whole concert. And then I need somebody to reel me in, but they're like, I contacted his mom, she's like, absolutely, it's just gonna cost you $50,000. Oh, actually, we can't do that, so I need time people to reel me in, because I will make this, the largest possible event, so that, we're not gonna be Cody Lee, I guess, with spending 50 grand on a color run, but maybe a food truck, maybe some pancakes, so we're gonna go with it.
And
And
like
have
Coda
some
coffee
this year.
year.
I have some coffee this year.
Like
we're
Coda
gonna-
Ice and
great.
Paper Brothers,
What?
like Coda Ice and Paper Brothers.
Yeah. So I don't know, I went like, we're gonna have the stage but yeah, so we're gonna have something. It's gonna be bigger, but it won't be. First, would you rather go to the next one?
Yeah, on that note, let's switch to baseball. So the Smithfield Little League registration is open. Yeah, everybody who knows that we have a challenger team. It's free to sign up, and it starts at age 6 and goes all the way up. One thing that I don't think a lot of people know about the challenger team is it is a traveling team. We travel all over Rhode Island and into Massachusetts. I think we're only in Smithfield maybe 2 or 3 weeks out of the season, which is kind of cool because we get to represent Smithfield everywhere, and we get to build friendships, and it's always the same kids in all the same towns, and it's a lot of fun to see everybody, and they get the medals, and like it's a full ceremony every time we go somewhere else for the most part. But one of the big things is that I know COVID made a lot of things take a hit, but we lost a lot of the buddies that we had for the team. So, I think it was for the 2 years after COVID, it had to be a parent or somebody who was always with the child. But because of that, we are having a really hard time getting buddies back in general. It can be anybody can be a buddy. They don't have to be a Smithfield Little League player. It can literally be anyone. So if you guys know any kids that want to hang out with, the league.
Have you thought about contacting Smithfield softball too?
Is it a certain age?
It doesn't matter the age. We have children 6 to older, so we just tend to pair them with like their same ages. And obviously it's dependent on the ability of the challenger player. But still, there was it the Mother's Day team? I'm looking at you because I know you were there.
Yeah.
Every single child had a buddy, and it was like, I want to cry, I want to tear up right now. It was the only game that like everybody, I was like, this is amazing.
But a
Now if
lot
you guys
of
could all
people
come back.
came out to that game.
Yeah,
It was nice.
But it gives, the kids that perspective of like, oh, look at how this game is played, like they're playing the game. Obviously, like it's tweaked, everybody hits the ball and they run one base at a time, but it's still, they're running the bases, they're taking turns, they're doing the outfield. So it's just really awesome
How
to see.
about
Is there a way we can put?
ability bridge.
Yeah, we could do a
Well,
ability
that's
bridge.
what I was on the spot.
Yeah,
Last year,
well,
I had so many kids say that they wanted to do it, and then it was me and Mallory.
right, and so the
So-
other thing is, so this year, I'm also on the Little League board. To help, 'cause why not, to kind of help with. Not just the Challenger team itself, but just like making sure they're incorporated with everything in the Little League. Super eye-opening being in those meetings, let me tell you. But the issue is that we always have so many people initially say that they want to sign up. And while like we have to have lists of people that could potentially be on the field if they're not the parent of the child that's on, like, we can't just have anybody on the fields. So we need like a list ahead of time.
They have to like sign a liability or anything like that.
I know,
Anybody
you
have
just have to have like a list that you have to check
Just sign.
that you've been, yeah, cause again, it's really dependent, if it's like an adult, we have to get a BCI check, but if it's a teenager, like, we're not putting them through a BCI check, but still we have like a list of, okay, yep, we know that you're here.
Do you have like the schedule prior? Like, do you
We
know?
get the schedule, I mean, it's probably like a month before it starts.
Once
So,
if we posted the schedule and like made a Google Doc or sign up through SELAC, see if anybody's like up there.
Yeah, I feel like for me, at least, like kids that I had that said they wanted to do it, the traveling really was the
That's-
problem.
that's what's really hard.
I think if there's a way that I can try and tell like my volunteers that I can we can do like a carpool, that might
Yeah.
be better.
And that one, so
Yeah.
last year, again, because of COVID, it like took us out of a lot of the tournaments that
Mhm.
Challenger did, and last year we did them all again. I mean, the one that was the longest drive was in like Newport, and I was like, guys,
Yeah.
who's paying my toll? I was like, oh, I love this team, but we are driving far.
Yeah,
The game right now.
It's definitely a lot, like the traveling, but I will definitely reach out to my group again and hopefully I'm gonna at least try and get my main group to definitely do
And
it.
then I have a thing.
And then so how should if I have a group that wants to do it, do I tell you?
Yep.
Okay. Alright,
Yeah, cause Ralph Boudreau he's the manager, head coach, whatever you call him, for the team, and he's the one that compiles the list.
Okay,
I just help promote the Challenger League, that is not
know
my
me.
position on the board.
I know me and Mal will definitely do it this year too, so. And we'll get, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, we do go in Gloucester, and Lincoln, Cumberland, so those aren't as far away, but like the ones that we do in Massachusetts and the one in Newport. We know those are hikes, and usually the parents end up, they know they're gonna be on the fields, but it's just the ones that are closer to home that it's nice to, see other people. Yeah.
Not at school. Is there a way that we can tell the unified basketball team about this? Because I had a family talk to me last week and said that they want to get their kid into more sports. And I said, well, there's baseball, and they're like, baseball, like they have a unified baseball team. I was like, yeah. So is
I
there a
think
way?
Jeff, the coach for basketball, usually sends it out.
Yeah, he usually says.
Okay.
They might.
Just
Might as well
gotta
have
get
on
that.
like now.
Yeah, so
as he's
Ralph is
transitioning.
just starting to send all the, like, I'm saying it here before, like, all the
Okay.
emails have been sent because we're having this meeting. I think Ralph is starting to send emails either this week or next week to all the families that signed up last year, as well as whoever other
Sounds
contacts.
good. I
they
didn't
had.
know if that happened, but I did have a family
I
ask
think he
if they
did,
yeah,
could
a
do
couple of
baseball,
years
so.
ago, yeah. I don't know if he did.
But it's also just like everything, like, we feel like it's getting promoted everywhere, and
And
then
then,
somebody slips
Yeah.
through the cracks. So yeah.
It's a big push for like, because kids used to get letters for their like volunteer, whether it was for
yeah.
confirmation.
yeah,
Tyler had a buddy that was going for some scholarship that required volunteers off. So, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
good push to do for like, you know, people applying
Yeah,
for
and
colleges and
Ralph, he signs
guidances
off
and-
on all
Yeah.
of it.
I know for
Which a lot of
conservation,
kids know that, like this
Yeah.
council
Yeah.
knows that.
Counts as
a
a
lot of
police
kids
service.
need, at least like this year.
Yeah, your national.
Put it out
Yeah,
there. A lot of the kids last year came from the
Mhm.
Yeah, I told Brian I'm doing a separate,
flyer.
did you see the one I
I
already
did, I
did?
printed it, and I brought it to the school.
Oh,
committee
yeah,
today.
I told him, I was like, this is great for the whole town, but I'm doing a separate one for Challenger. I just have to, I'm waiting on Ralph to approve it.
The word gets out in the high school, that I know, because of the
Yeah.
Ability Bridge. I think we do a great job promoting it. I just worry about Gallagher, because I know it's not that.
Right.
Gallagher is definitely tricky, but
So I was gonna ask you, I'm glad you're here, could there possibly be a charter that could be put, as you are overseeing it in the high school? Could there be like a charter or an appointing, like, person in the middle school who would be like overseeing it?
yeah,
Kind of what we're
100%.
doing, so that there's that waterfall
Mhm.
and it can trickle over
Yeah.
into all.
There
of
was
our-
so Love
That
Unified
was-
last year.
So I
Now
was
they're
just
bringing
gonna
on-
say, Ella and her group did an amazing job last year, but I don't really think that there was much engagement in the grade below, which is the problem, because when I was in
She had
8th
two people
grade,
that wanted to take it over, but she was told the school was going to take it on and it wasn't gonna be
I
like
heard
student.
that Mrs. Bernardin was gonna start it up and
Okay, great.
continue it.
With
Yeah,
unified basketball.
with unified
Yeah.
basketball,
That's
but
what she is.
They did
letting me
after
know.
when I was in 8th grade,
Yeah.
I got Ella's group to do it. And then Ella's group tried to get people to do it in the grade below, but not many kids were engaged with it. Because like, I feel like we were doing so good, we were on like a great roll, everyone was getting involved, and then we kind of like hit a wall. And now kids are moving backwards. At the middle school at least, the high school is just getting better with it.
Yeah.
But the middle school is just, it was doing great, but
From the notes that I get, it seems like it's usually 6th and 7th graders that are
yeah, the 8th
doing
graders
all
just lost
the
interest.
things. There's like one or two, like there's a few, but there's not
Yeah.
many 8th graders that are consistent anyway.
Mhm.
What's the biggest challenge? I mean, I know the kids, but like within the school, what, like can the counselors help? Like what?
Schedule's probably the biggest, you know, like they
Like,
can think
no,
about.
but like if they have every block.
Advisory,
Intervention, advisory, whatever, but isn't there opportunity in those types of things to say, hey, ability bridge?
It's
the
like, so the middle school, trying to get down to the IC room in the middle school is like actually like going through like a battle with the principal. Like it is
Why?
unreal.
You have to have the grades.
They
before you
have to
can
have
get there.
grades,
Like there's
which is
so many,
ridiculous
there's a lot of red
because-
tape.
There's like
It's
required interventions for
Yeah.
kids who need them,
Yeah.
like it's, and then there's, you know,
It's-
just the
It's
classes,
a
just the
scheduling,
schedule.
so last year they had a group,
Yeah.
It could be.
there was,
They wanted to.
they
Yeah.
put together their own schedule and there were certain kids that were able to go into with Dr. Bowie's approval, but they put it together and they presented it to her. So I think if they had somebody that took initiative to go into her office with a PowerPoint presentation and say, this is what I want to do, and it got approved that way, like the principals have a lot of stuff and it should be to the top, but there's
Yeah,
just
the
other.
teachers also don't wanna let the kids leave to go,
Right.
which was really confusing. Yeah, like, why would you not want us to be able to go do that? They want you to stay in their classroom, and I feel like the middle school teachers are really isolated in their rooms, and they stay with their team only, and they don't venture out they don't even go down near that wing where the IC room and the art room and everything. So they just don't really care. They're like, you have an assignment in here, you're gonna do it in here, you're not gonna leave. But in the high school, that's not it at all. You can go down, there's unified gym here, kids can come in, it's so much more inclusive here. But there's
I mean,
definitely
middle
ways,
school's probably I don't have a better word, the biggest target, like
Yeah,
the
it-
transition and the age group, you'd think
middle
that
school,
the school, the teachers would want to help drive that inclusion at that transition period.
there's definitely something that I can talk with Mallory, we can come up with something. To try and get it back at the middle school.
Do you have any 8th grade kids?
I
on
have-
the bridge?
I have no middle schoolers anymore.
You do
None.
have two, I'm thinking of two that I don't wanna like say names out, but I will, chat with two that I was thinking that, was interested last year.
Okay,
So-
as of right now, I only have high schoolers, which kind of stinks, but maybe we have two that I'm not thinking of, but, or maybe a few, but not really consistent. But a lot of kids, I did have two that came to our field day in September because they needed hours for National Junior Honor Society. So maybe if I reach out, we can get more involvement, but I'm gonna try and do something over there. But it's really
Let us, know how to help too, because the high school too, the kids have more of a voice, right? So
Yeah,
they can be
100%.
vocal about it. The middle school,
middle school, like I feel like it's-
teachers aren't pushing it and they, coming
That's-
from the top down, they're not gonna.
it's a problem when the teachers aren't helping the case, they're not letting you go see the kids, they're not letting you get involved. Cause once kids hear no, a lot of kids won't fight back and try and like be able to go
Do you
if they hear no.
I don't know the rules, but I remember in elementary school, a lot of the high school kids would go into the elementary school for different events, right? Just, and then they would meet the teachers, they would meet, so there were
Yeah.
opportunities.
But
Are
that's
there
only
not
for Pleasant View.
opportunities in middle school?
No,
You guys know it.
I know Ability Bridge is working on going to the elementary schools to read books and doing like inclusion crafts with the elementary schools. But other than that, like, we don't
What
have,
about the after-school programs?
we have none. We don't have.
No, the middle school though.
Oh,
You have the unified
Or
club.
STARS.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they have unified ones too, but.
But I
that's
mean, like, if
only-
Ability Bridge went into those.
Yeah, I could do that. We get like no information from the middle school. The middle school doesn't really communicate with us. Like Ability Bridge is like not even known at the middle school in most ways.
Yeah.
We're kind of, we are mainly at the high school because like we're all at the high school, but also because the high school is the best with communicating with us and allows us to do the most. And like, it's not that we don't try, it's that we're not allowed to do much, so.
Is there somebody at the high school that could advocate for Ability Bridge? Maybe an adult that could be your voice and make things happen?
There's a couple, I'm in contact, so we are starting up Unified Club at the high school. We actually have a meeting next Tuesday. We're gonna have an after-school club and we're gonna get more ways where we can leave the high school and do more field trips. And get more people involved. And the advisors for that, I definitely could try. We can try and get our voice heard more, but
Advisor can talk to an advisor.
Yeah.
Your guidance counselors could call the guidance counselors over.
yeah,
Gallagher and say, hey, listen, we have a project, we'd like your involvement.
Yeah.
Can we work together?
yeah.
Think
Middle
we should
school's-
get the
It's a
adults
little,
involved.
it's tough over there, but
There is an 8th grader that didn't, he never used to go to the ISE room. Again, I'm not gonna say names on the recording, but he was Gabriel's buddy when he was at the Perch and like realized that he was in the middle school this year and is actively going, like he went through the channels he had to go through to make sure that he could get down there. So, like, it would be nice if that was happening for like the students throughout the entire school, like, with the 6th graders coming in, like the buddies that they had that were older, like kind of taking them under their wing throughout the whole school.
yeah.
Like I get notes that Gabriel's going to hang out with 8th graders and I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that. But I'm glad he's getting out and like, he's not just in his classroom, but just throughout the whole school. I said it shouldn't just like ISE room, yes, but it should be for buddies throughout the
But
whole
it's
school.
a good point that you just brought up and probably something that SELAC can help with, right? Or, somehow figure out how to get supported. Like that transition, the 5th graders who have buddies, who have that, to the parent to be able, as part of their IEP or whatever it is, right, to advocate that that buddy is also able to go into the ISD room.
Right, and like, this
Not
is
many
an
kids
older
are gonna
one,
figure out
which is-
that process.
Right,
Yeah, that's the
and it's
problem.
not, and 6th graders can't do it right away, like, because of everything. Like I said, it was nice that this 8th grader was like, oh my God, I was his buddy when we were, all the years that they were at La Perche together, and he just went right and took him under his wing, and I was like, if this, if I'm like, if this boy would like tell all his friends, like, get all the kids and, just having that happen more often without. Cause he didn't have a teacher facilitate that. He did that totally on his own.
Gwen, have you ever tried to get an appointment directly with Dr. Bovee?
I haven't, but I could try.
I'm sure you
It's all the
have
same school
parents that
hours.
would go
Yeah,
if you didn't feel comfortable.
That's
That's like,
hard for you.
yeah, it is hard, cause we have the
That's
same
4
set, like
hours.
school, like, I could see if I could get one after school. But I definitely, I'm targeting the middle school now.
Or even, I always call him Kyle. I always say his last name, I always call him Kyle. I mean, he's really involved
Yeah.
and engaged,
Yeah.
and I.
I've heard that.
I mean, I know he's
He's awesome.
from top down, but he's somebody that you might have
Yeah.
a good shot of getting an appointment with.
I'm gonna talk to Mrs. Bernardin and see how she's doing with her unified club, if she's needs any help with that. And then I wanna see if I can help kids get more involved, so I'll definitely try and set up an appointment.
A lot of kids that go up there, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're wanting to do something after school, cause I
Yeah.
think there's like 12 or 13 that consistently are going down.
That's really good, yeah.
I get to hear all the.
Yeah, it's really good, but I feel like it's not like the 8th graders. I'm really surprised that there's not like more, because everything that has happened in the past 2 years, their unified was huge. So it's like a big change, because although like that is a big number, like I feel like it definitely could be way more. But it's just, I feel like it's just a lot of kids, when they hear no, they don't know, like, they don't take the extra steps. They're like, okay, I can't do it, and then,
But also I wonder if they vary it. Like, I would love more kids to come down, but there's also only 3 students in that
Yeah.
classroom. So like last
wonder
year
if
there
they
was
have,
what,
like,
like
a-
7 or
Yeah, that's my
something?
whole thing, like, you don't wanna have like,
Right.
12 kids and.
Have, like, three.
Like,
Right.
3,
Yeah, cause then
Yeah,
that's like,
ratio.
like when I get told, I'm like, okay,
And then
so there
it's
was 12
like-
kids in addition.
yeah.
You can rotate, there's other options,
Right.
I
I mean,
think, to
but
look
you
at.
guys,
But
do
it
so
should
much
be-
of it is in the
yeah.
community and is out of school. But
Yeah.
it's bridging that gap of the kids in school to get more familiar
Yeah.
and support from other peers. It's not like, I know you have to start with the school, but
Mhm.
like you guys do so much that the word's just not out there.
yeah, it's weird. That's like the one school where we kind of lack the like support and communication, because every other school is great, so. But
Can you help, Eileen?
I mean, I can talk to the principal, I know, I was. Familiar with the Unified Club and Unified, once the Unified Basketball starts, there'll be, some cross, mingling, like, I didn't
Yeah.
know, in terms of ability bridge, I mean, it is tough, like, during the day, like, there's academics going on,
Yeah.
there are classes going on,
it is.
I mean, there are,
you know, like electives, kinda.
yeah, like, there's not that elective time.
Yeah,
I
in
know.
middle school, yeah.
Yeah, high school, there's elective time, like there isn't at the middle school.
They figured it
So
out
it's a
last year.
challenge.
Very thick end.
The year before.
The last
That's
year,
what
the
I
last-
mean, if there's that.
The past 2 years, cause
possible.
Gwen did it
It's
too.
possible, right? It's just.
Yeah, it's-
It is
You would be
possible.
looking at.
You just have to have a good group of kids that are willing to put in the work.
How do they
Like
go
the
about
fight.
signing up?
I'm not really sure how it went for how it is now, but when I did it, I had kids reach out to me and Mrs. Jacob, and we kind of made a schedule, because we also had way too many kids that wanted to come down at once. So we made a schedule. Every Thursday we would have a rotation about 6 kids, because also at that time there was way more kids.
Yeah.
So we had about 6 kids come down, and then it would rotate. So every week it would be a different group of like 6 kids. And
Is it possible to have like, call a meeting and everybody who is interested in participating in this, let's meet here, let me tell you a little bit more about it
Yeah.
and get them to commit then.
we could definitely set
Rather
something
than
up.
disrupting the day at school and trying to fight with the schedule.
Yeah, middle school, the schedule is
It's
so much
impossible.
different, cause I know like I just think of like the high school schedule now, like we have so much more free time, we have advisor where we have 30 minutes to kind of do what we want, so it's like.
So another developmental, you know, you guys are in high school, these
Yeah,
kids are still
they're still-
mature and they're
so-
still developing,
I
they
mean,
don't, you know,
I
they,
really-
they don't challenge back the teacher if the teacher says
Yeah.
no, because they
Yeah.
still, you know, I respect my
Yeah.
adults and no is no, and I'm not gonna push back
Mhm.
because if I do, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, I can talk to, I would say like, right now, if kids were interested, I can talk to Mrs. Jacob and Mrs. Bernardin and see if there's a way that they can set up a meeting and I'll help, I can go. But I feel like if there's kids that wanna be involved, the best way to get involved is to contact them, because it's their classroom and they know best, they know the situation that's going on right now. But I can find out more information and maybe we can send something out. And
And it all depends on the students within that classroom.
yeah,
And, like if they can, if it's beneficial to the students in that, like every case is.
Like
so
this year, my
different.
son goes out of the classroom.
Right.
Yeah.
So like,
Which is
where he's
important.
been in the classroom all the time, now he goes out to science, so,
Yeah.
and so there's another one of his classmates, so. It,
In a perfect world, we wouldn't.
and that's what you're supposed, right, and then,
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah, but
right.
like, that's like, would be. there's a difference.
So I think there might be
Right.
less opportunities to actually just be in the.
Like I said,
class.
there's only three.
Yeah.
in
There's only
it, so
three,
there's
yeah.
so
There's
much
certain
room.
states that
That's
just
true.
completely do away
Too.
with it, they fund and
because
give
the rest
everybody.
is coming up onto leave and that's it.
So that's the.
I mean,
So it
yeah,
depends.
Rutgers, yeah,
There's so much,
And
I
then
would
the
love to
school's
be
gonna
that.
have,
Well,
like,
maybe there'll be other kids.
Yeah, maybe
Don't
that
worry
would be like-
about-
as of right now, Miss B said.
Just
she'll be there.
that would be.
And then I believe like 15. And their
Okay.
classroom
Might
is
keep
like-
count of that.
Middle school's crazy. It's
It's so
it's
crazy.
like, I'm not familiar with like the schedule to know of who goes where,
Yeah.
but the intervention block would be the
Yeah.
only thing, and even then we're saying only kids with the right grades can go and help out where other kids like Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would like, like if that's to go. I would like, that's
Yeah.
sorry, I'd love to go there, but he would never, because he has.
Yeah, we really do.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
But in a perfect world, if you have the kids with diets.
No,
Like,
figure something out.
with peers to learn aside as students. Right.
Mhm.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next one, because we can go on forever.
Parent only meeting, we had a couple people come to us and say like, why do you have parents? What's the point of them? What are you saying? Are you telling like secrets? Like, no, there's no secrets being told at parent only meetings. The only thing that we're giving a safe space for other parents to come and talk to one another and almost be like a parent support network. Like I would love to have where we can come and just, you know, vent or cry or do whatever you have to do, because as a parent of a kid with special needs, the only person who can relate is another parent to a kid with special needs. And we have amazing educators that can, but at a certain point, the educator's job's done and our job's never ending. So it is important to have parents be able to talk to other parents about just whatever they want to talk about in a judgment-free zone. So that's why we have them. The past two we've had, we did one with talking about like basic IEPs and like just showing the shell of an IEP, not going into depth because every kid is so different. But showing the shell of an IEP, this is where like some parents don't even know where your service times are. Like, what does that mean? What does 0.5 mean? What is
the difference between an IEP and a 504?
Yeah, or like, they don't even know what an IEP has goals, and it's tough, because when you're sitting in an IEP meeting and somebody hands you educational jargon and you can't understand it. You're just, a lot of people just yes people to death, just to get out of the meeting, because you feel insecure. If I don't know something, I feel insecure about it, and I'm just gonna yes somebody to death. And our educators are like, oh, do you understand everything? And do you understand everything? And they're doing a great job, but as a parent shut down, I feel like once those doors shut and you're sitting there with a team of people. So it just gives people a place to be like, oh, I didn't even know I had a goal. Like we've had questions like that. Like, I didn't even know that. What do you mean I have goals? Like, oh yeah, this is what your child's working on. And this is the services. Oh yeah, they have OT for a half hour, 3 times a week. Cause even that's worded
0.33,
in
like
a-
what is that?
in a different language to parents. So that was the first one. The second one, we did 504 versus the IEP, and understand that 504 is not special ed, and like IEP is a legal document, file forge your civil rights. And understanding the difference between accommodations and modifications. And just giving parents that knowledge of, you know, well, I want an IEP, and I'm like, well, that's not how it works, you know, like, not every kid needs an IEP, the sure the school district would love to personalize everything, but not every kid needs one, and funding wise, that's not humanly possible in public school. So it's just to understand basic things, and then to sit there and say, we've had toileting questions or different things, what works for you for feeding, what
Right, like totally.
stuff that people don't feel comfortable saying in an open forum.
Yeah,
So-
so that it's not a virtual component because of the fact we don't record it. There's no notes taken, and virtually, you know, while I have to let people into the meeting, anybody could put, you know, whatever name, and I don't know every parent or every staff in district, so we have, you know, like I said, it's no recording, no virtual, it's always in person, for that, you know, that community part and for the safe space, so nobody feels like, oh my God, this is gonna come back to me somehow.
Just
I
giving,
think it's a good opportunity for you guys to get, more understanding of the types of questions that families have that aren't, comfortable asking them in front of teachers, and then you can take it back
and we do,
and
right, like,
have
we'll,
topics.
Or even in this.
and I'll do the same thing and be
People
like,
don't feel
does this have, like, just to try and get her, you know, like, I don't wanna say questions, but, because it's like, kind of, they couldn't, but, we did the same thing today, and just getting her, how should we answer this, you know, like, just something for district and, you know, kind of keeping open, communication with district. Which goes to the next, possible future events, we're looking at, you know, as SELAC keeps growing, adding other events that are beneficial to families and district. And one that I think would be beneficial to not only parents, but also faculty and staff is a meeting to help everybody build IEP relationships. I feel like a lot of times parents feel, and I don't want to speak for all parents feel like staff is against them, staff feels like sometimes parents come at them, and as a very passionate parent, I have did that, you know, like, you're so protective over your child, and you know what's best for your child, and just trying to say it in a nice way and build a team relationship, because that's the best way to get your child to move forward. So that would be something that we are looking into as beneficial as working with staff, faculty and staff, and maybe presenting as a panel, helpful ways for parents and faculty and staff to bridge the gap and work together. That's one of an idea, and another idea was with Decoding Dyslexia, they spoke about having a reading night partnered with them, maybe during reading week, and doing like a reading walk and educating parents on different methods to help their struggling reader at home. Which is great. Decoding Dyslexia has been awesome, and it's somebody from Smithfield too, who graduated from Smithfield, who has dyslexia, who's you know, in the shoes of our students. So those are two events. If anybody ever has any other events or speakers that they want to hear, or anything for them to, you can email us, you can speak out now. Just other ideas that you think would be beneficial to the district. We've had a bunch of different things since this is the third year, I think I've been on the board of just trying to, you know, trying to listen to everybody, and these are a lot of the issues. Issues that I'm hearing, and just to keep moving the group forward. So I don't know if anyone has any other ideas, or if you come up with an idea, or if you're like me and at 3 a.m. we wake up and you're like, this is a great idea, let's have Cody lead them. You know, it's just different things.
Like the Light It Up Red, just like hearing about an event that maybe we could go to or get a group to. We got the group together to go to the State House for that.
Yeah, it's always good to partner with other org. Yes.
A question.
Yeah.
If you're new board right now, like that, it's a board meeting. And you're talking about parents meeting, it's kind of two meetings different, like my first time.
Yeah.
Here, I'm planning to attend one.
For this
a
meeting?
long time.
For this meeting? Is that what you-
Yes.
Same like a separate meeting.
Yeah, what
like
is the
different-
Oh, so
Yeah.
parent only meetings is completely separate, so
Yeah.
we have our meetings like this, where we put them out to the district, and we have administration and teachers
Staff.
that come, so thank you for taking the time out, because they don't get paid to be here, they're here willingly to help students, but we usually have other, I'm sure everybody is, you know.
There's a lot of
sick right now.
sickness going on.
Yes, exactly.
There's like
a lot of
personal
sickness.
and sickness.
Yes, we usually have a lot of teachers and different faculty members that come and attend. And the parent-only meetings, we had the last one at the East Smithfield Library, and it's just parents. So there's no faculty, there's no teachers, it's just parents sitting, having open dialogue and communication on whatever you want to talk about. You know, and we did a little presentations the past two, but then the rest of it, we open it up to just talk and just vent and just be, you know, just whatever somebody wants to talk about or needs advice or needs us to connect them with somebody in district or they know a program that's beneficial. So it's two separate, different types of meetings.
And you've been alternating months this year, so
Yes,
like next month
Yeah.
it is.
next month would be a parent-only meeting, yeah, so every other month we have, this, yeah, so
Yeah,
parent-only, this one's an open district meeting where we partner with the teachers, faculty, staff.
So the next meeting, that's the parent only meeting, will you have somebody speak there?
We don't.
The past two was just us.
Yeah.
So the two parent-only meetings, we created PowerPoints and just documents and we just presented.
There was like, there's a topic for each
Yeah.
one.
It was topics, it was a
We
topic,
we
so
usually,
basically
like,
the same
it's a
thing.
basic topic that is like general for everybody. Because everybody has different experiences, but we also bring like the parent view to it, so we talk about it at a parent level versus bringing a speaker or a professional in. Because we're gonna talk to it a lot differently, will be.
The speakers usually have
kind of
a
words than the big terms.
No, I think that's, anybody have any ideas? Well, we have. Yeah.
Back to us.
The next open forum meeting, I have somebody who'd like to come and speak, they own Success on the Spectrum.
Okay.
In Lincoln.
Never heard of it. Okay,
Is it new?
Yeah, you just opened.
would they be interested in color?
Oh,
The color of it too. I'm always
absolutely.
looking for different tables.
And they do home-based services as well.
Okay.
It needs to be within a certain mileage, I believe. I don't know what the criteria is, but
Okay.
they do parent trainings, they do
I like the
medical
name.
services, testing, home visits.
Okay, where are they located? Lincoln?
Lincoln.
Oh, they're really good.
Very catchy name, I enjoy it.
The girls, they were good. I went with her.
Yeah, they do parent training.
I like the name, I like it, I enjoy a good catchy business name. Right?
Sounds like that on like a reality show.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's true. You're right, like a Netflix special, yeah.
Like TLC.
When I hear names like that, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Eileen, do you wanna say? Anything updates?
Yeah, so, believe it or not, I'm already started to plan ESY. I know it's like cold outside, but it takes that
It's
long.
quick, yeah.
It
So
takes
is
that
this
long to
like,
plan.
yeah, you do the count.
The calendar, the way the calendar falls this year is funny. So we're looking at ESY, just during the month of August. Because, the way the calendar falls, like August, yeah, like August 1st is like Friday, I wanna say, and then there'd only be, and again, this is like tentative, we haven't done the school calendar yet, but if we start that last week of August, like we usually do, there's only the 3 weeks, like in August, because of the way it falls, July 1st is like a Tuesday.
Weird.
And yeah, I'm telling you, 2025 is a little.
Yes.
So we're looking at, we're still discussing, the start date of school and potential end date, because I do try to make it even on both sides, but even from the time we're supposed to get out now, June, if I start in July, it's only like a week and a half. Like just the way the dates are flowing. Yeah. Like, so, I mean, there's more to come, but that's.
But I feel like the
preliminary.
weeks have gotten shorter and shorter. I mean, that child was 16, yeah, so I've been doing this for a while,
Yeah,
and I feel
the
like each
program's just
year,
getting
it's,
shorter and
I
shorter.
feel like when we started this, it was 6, 7 weeks, and now it's 4, like, so it's just,
Yeah,
I
I think
feel
we're-
the
it's
same.
just really kind of,
I feel like it was more of the summer.
like, why, like, you know,
yeah,
You
it's
get
hard.
6 weeks.
So there's
If you go
no-
to August, it's like 3 weeks or that.
Yeah, like there's no requirement, like there's nothing that says how long like the ESY program needs to be. And so I try to do like a even gap before it starts and an even gap at the end. You know, so there isn't, a large gap and, some years it works really well and it's like exactly even, and then some years it's not. Some years we have snow days that go longer in June. Typically don't start in June, and that's because it's really, I budget for ESY for the next fiscal year, and so that's July 1st. So that's preliminarily, what we're thinking.
so you said just doing it in August?
No,
No.
July,
Oh, you said August.
which is like almost the way that it falls. I think I counted up, it was
So
5
July, not
weeks.
August.
So it would be, sorry.
Yeah.
You said
You
August.
said.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
like,
Wait,
July,
Okay.
sorry.
So it'd be,
So just,
Now I'm
so
in
just
July,
the month of
but yeah,
July,
that's like the full.
Yeah.
because then it'll be what, 2 weeks before we
So-
come back.
The 7th to
Okay.
the
It'd be like
31st
3
tentatively.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
I pulled up the calendar,
Yeah,
so. It would
See
be
how
like
it
the
falls?
7th to the 31st, cause it's only Monday through Thursday. Cause yeah, it always starts after
Yeah.
the 4th of July.
Yeah.
But
but I
that falls
think
on a
we're gonna,
Friday.
I think I might
Yes.
have to start it before because the 4th of July is on a Friday, so.
Right.
Typically, people go away that week or it falls in the middle, and so the
Yeah.
attendance isn't really good, but with it being on a Friday, I think I can start it like right at.
It's funny, 'cause I used to complain that it started before, like, well, they haven't a weekend the 4th of July. And then when they didn't, I was like, why don't they have it?
I know, and
It
it,
was like, a weird thing, and then I didn't realize that when Tyler moved up, that his days were gonna be shorter,
Right.
oh, really?
but he got. So,
Okay,
just, I didn't know that.
I'll make sure to check on that.
Right away.
And I was like, the bus didn't come, and I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, you only supposed to go 3 days, and I'm like, no, nobody said that to me, yeah, so.
yeah, it's really, so what happens at this time, like why I start planning now. Is because it's all individualized, and so the teacher, the teams, they recommend what the kiddos need, and so some kids come 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, like it's all varied, and so I have to staff that. For whatever day, so it's like you're not supposed to say, oh, it's this program, it's that program, it's this program, because you're supposed to individualize, and so that's really what I do.
Yeah.
So it is different for everyone.
Yeah,
Based on
sometimes
people's
it's
Yeah,
like no longer 3, but we have 3, and sometimes like, okay, the girl is coming at home. You
yeah,
pick up one at 8, the other one at 9, it's like, why they don't go all
yeah,
on the same time when you say the bus week or anything else, but like you said,
yeah,
it's always, oh, you have that professional available, you don't have the other one, and
There was
you
one
put
year
to
I
make the
had like
match.
yeah.
30 minutes. Back and forth.
Yeah, sometimes that happens, especially, I mean, it does happen for families with multiple kids, like sometimes the schedules are different, but that's just because they need different things, and so. You try to piece that together. The other thing I wanted to mention is that there'll be a college forum. It's a day-long event. It's for planning for students, it's for families, it's for students with disabilities, and it's how to plan for kids who might be interested in going to college. And so that date is March 22nd. They haven't released the time or registration yet, but it's going to be at URI. It's sponsored by, RIDE has a piece in there, and it's a full day conference, and it's for, families and kids with disabilities who are interested in going to college and explaining the supports that are available at that level, so that's happening as well.
And you have more information on that, like the time, could you email
Send
that?
it, yeah.
And then we can blast that out to families.
Yeah, I was actually surprised, I was kind of thinking it was come out now, but maybe.
Do you have to register, you know, for it, or is it just? Like it should show up?
There is a registration, but that's what I'm waiting for.
What's the name?
It's a full day workshop for families with children who are interested in going to college, but they might have a disability. And so at this workshop, they talk about the supports that are in place at the college level for kids with disabilities. And so, you know, a lot of that is, you know, the child, you know, disclosing that they have a disability, producing any IEP, 504, anything that they had in high school, and then they work to support you while you're in school. And every college has like an office of, you know, academic success or support, depending on what they call it.
It was just an open forum, if anybody has anything. Ask questions, talk about.
And we covered all,
We're sick.
there we covered all, go back to the local.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Taking the time. Yeah, great.